Hello and welcome back to another movie review. As always, I'm Kelly, and I just got out of The New Mutants. Yeah, I'm just as surprised that this movie actually came out as you are. No joke, I recently saw an ad for this prior to the movie's release where it said, coming out August 28th. I'm like, wait, is that an actual updated ad, or is that just the old ad from like a year ago when this was supposed to come out? And usually delays like this is a really bad sign, and I can tell you that yeah, this movie isn't exactly great. I almost don't want to actually say that though, because this movie isn't the worst thing I've ever seen in the world. It is definitely better than most movies that get delayed like this. I mean, I remember The Space Between Us, which had a similar long period where it was pushed back and updated and all that garbage. Yeah, this could have been a hell of a lot worse. But I can't really say that this movie is good in any satisfactory way. Like, the effects, they range from passable to honestly pretty bad. The actors are all trying, they're giving 100%, but there's a lot of really obvious script problems and a lot of tonal issues. And the direction itself, the cinematography, all of it is just bog standard and bland. Like, if you're gonna do a movie like this, which is supposed to be like a superhero horror type mashup, you really need to go all in on the horror and really give us that atmosphere, if nothing else. But no, they didn't even give us that. All of the scares inside of this are really obvious and kind of jump scare heavy. And I don't want to make it sound like this is the worst, because this movie is trying. Everyone involved is clearly giving their A game, and above all else, I will say that the idea of a horror superhero film is kind of revolutionary. The only thing I can really compare it to is like Captain America the Winter Soldier, how it was both a superhero film and a spy film mashed together, and gave us what is arguably still the best MCU movie of all time. Doing that with a horror film should have been just as amazing and on that level, but it wasn't. And unfortunately, what we got is at best mediocre. And that's pretty much it for my non-spoiler section thoughts. So if you want to get an actual rating, you can skip to the end to find out. If not, from here on out, spoilers be ahoy. Now, starting with things I thought they did well, again, the concept is kind of revolutionary. And there are times inside of this where it feels like they have reached into that level of genius. For example, the whole movie takes place in this hospital where these kids are being treated for their mutant genes and all this other crap. But it's very clearly established in the movie that this place is just a hospital, a prison state hospital, essentially. All of the hallucinations, all of the weird, spoopy jump scares and all that stuff, this is all just barely starting. Like, this wasn't a thing until this movie started. The trailer kind of makes it look like, this is intentional, like the whole hospital is set up to do all this. But no, something else is doing this. And that kind of mystery element does play into it enough that I can say that had they run full force with the idea that there is something new at play here and it's messing with all their heads, this could have been a much, much more atmospheric, psychological horror type feel. And there's a few moments when a character is kind of just reminiscing or having an open heart-to-heart with another character where you kind of get those vibes like we're dealing with a lot more than just spoopy jump scares. We're actually dealing with actual trauma. And you can see that in some of the monster designs of what they're hallucinating about. In particular, you can see these from the creatures that come from Magic's trauma. And yes, I'm going by her character name because I suck at pronouncing Russian names, and Ilya is something I'm not even going to attempt. They're these tall, lengthy, don't quite move right things that are crawling on the walls, and they all wear these smile masks. And underneath those masks, there's no face at all. Just a big grin wanting to eat you. But when you know that Magic's backstory involves her being kidnapped by what looks like Russian mob and probably sold into the sex trade, looking at that monster design, you start to realize details on it that kind of make sense. Like, they all have tattoos up and down their arms. They're not wearing business suits, they're wearing something more like a silk suit, something you'd see in a gangster film. And you can quickly realize that even their smiley face masks and their big old rows and rows of teeth they have, that's pretty much how a 5-year-old probably saw this legitimate monster. Hell, you can actually glean a lot from the idea that these things want to eat you. Just saying. And it's details and flourishes like that that really help sell that this could have been an amazing idea had they actually done it with more than just magic. And it's those glimmers of greatness inside of this that really want me to give it a higher rating than it is. Because again, the actors are all trying their asses off. But we gotta talk about the bad stuff. And that's probably why you're even here. The number one major problem with this movie is its script. This is cliche as all hell. This is your pretty much standard prison setup. You got the asshole, you got the nice one, you got the bitch, you got the really nice girl who may have lesbian connections with the other girl. Yeah, right? While I did like the relationship and chemistry that these two actresses had who were in this relationship, I can't honestly say that it's anything but cliche. I mean, Orange is the New Black was a pretty big hit for years, and it's pretty clear you're trying to recreate some of those dynamics. That's all I'm saying. And again, the horror elements are so reliant on jump scares and shock value. But I'm sorry, you can't get that out of a PG-13 movie. There's nothing shocking here. And this movie's need to bend over backwards to meet this PG-13 standard, I'm sorry, you can't have shocking in a PG-13 because you have to restrict it to being non-gory. You can't have any sexual content, and you sure as fuck can't swear. All of which hamper and hinder the horror elements inside of this. Unless you get really creative, like scary stories to tell in the dark, and yes, I did do that 3 takes, just so you know. As creative as that, it's just going to come off as cliche, because we've seen this before, especially near October and September, which this movie is unfortunately going to have to rub up against. And it's not like the rest of the film does anything else with all the other characters' traumas. The nice guy accidentally killed his dad in a mine because he, I guess, vibrated on a wall too hard. That one girl who turns into the dog/werewolf person, yeah, she was attacked by a Catholic priest and was even branded a witch by him. So can we do something with that? All they do is that a Catholic priest once shows up with a prod and like, come on, get exaggerated with this. Make him come in all creepy like the other ones, really amp this up. But they don't. They have every opportunity to, but they didn't. Well, maybe they didn't have every opportunity to. People are probably surprised that I haven't mentioned this yet, but there's this thing called the Disney-Fox merger, and the reason this movie got pushed back so much is because this guy got lost in the shuffle. And I heard that there were supposed to be a bunch of reshoots, and hell, at one point I heard this was going to be rated R. So maybe these things were actually supposed to come into play, but then the Disney-Fox merger happened, and Disney said, fuck it, it's not part of our MCU, so why should we care? It could very well be that. Unfortunately, it still doesn't change the product that we have on screen, which, getting to it, this movie is a mess. In fact, I'd even call it a hot mess, if not for the fact I don't think I'm ever going to want to watch this again. There are flares of creativity and pure genius inside of this movie, but they are buried underneath a cavalcade of cliche, overwritten garbage. Maybe this could have been a great film at one point. However, what we got is mediocre. And my personal recommendation is, wait for Netflix. There's no reason to go out to a theater to watch this movie. There's no reason to buy it on DVD. Hell, I wouldn't even say rent it. But if you see it on, say, like Netflix or Disney Plus, it's not going to be the worst way you could have spent your time. There is enough good there that I can say that it's not worth ignoring outright. It's just not enough for me to say that you should go seek it out. And that's it for me. Did you enjoy the video? Did you see New Mutants? Tell me what you thought about it in the comments down below. Let's get some healthy discussion going. And as always, if you like what you saw, be sure to like, share, subscribe, all that jazz. Every single one of those helps my channel grow so that I can bring you more of these wonderful reviews. Also, I stream every Thursday right here on this channel, so be sure to subscribe for that. And yeah, that's it for me, so I guess I'll see you guys next time.